If you look at different ways you can invest money, and you need to think of owning a business as a class of assets unto itself. If you look at different ways you can invest money, they all produce different kinds of returns on that. Stock market, basic bank account with interest, if there is any. Bonds, artwork, fancy cars, hedge funds, whatever you want to pick. Well, private business ownership is an asset class like that. And as you look at how a healthy business grows over time, how you can make it bigger, how you can add value to it, and then ultimately what that business will be worth when the time comes for you to exit. And everybody has to exit. That's a huge, huge way of building personal net worth. It's not right for everybody. Some people are startup people. They want to start something from scratch. Other people are corporate people, and they're always going to be in a corporate set. And then there are the other people, sometimes from a corporate background, sometimes not. Sometimes it's the son of a rich or daughter of a rich person. Sometimes it's somebody who just wants to do their own thing. There's a lot of reasons why people get into private business ownership. And in working with me, it would be somebody who's not typically wanting to do the franchise thing. That's a special pod unto itself. What kind of person should buy a business? There are a lot of corporate types who get laid off or fired or choose to leave their business the company, corporate world for some reason. And they come to the decision of owning a business. And one of the questions I try to figure out really quickly is, are they trying to simply replace a paycheck? Or are they trying to build and own a business? And they're very different. At the smaller levels with corner delis and that kind of stuff, that's pretty much buying a paycheck. Same with oftentimes owning a franchise. That's replacing a paycheck. It's not really building a lot because there's a ceiling to how big a business like that can get. When you get into the niche I'm playing with, you start dealing with a business doing $3, $4, $5 million in revenue and up. Then all of a sudden, a business like that has value at the start. It's growable, and as it grows, it increases in value dramatically. And it gives you lots of opportunities to increase value dramatically, which means it gives you a tremendous leverageable way to build personal net worth. So it's important as I assess a person's temperament, whether they're tuned into that or not. The good candidate's somebody who really understands that they want to own a business. They've got a passion in themselves to run this thing, to figure out how to make it work. They like working with the kinds of people it takes to make it work, and we find the right fit. A guy that's come out of the corporate world, but he came into the corporate world in a funny way. He had started his own business, grown it to a large size, sold it to a large company, so he did a wonderful exit. Went along with it as an employee, because part of the condition of selling it was they keep him on for a little while. He ended up working his way through the larger company, running the larger company, retiring from the larger company, making a significant amount of money in the course of doing so, and then all of a sudden wanting to do more. Had wanted to find a business, wasn't sure what industry he wanted. So a large part of my engagement, it's why I enjoy what I do, large part of my engagement is no two clients are the same. And part of what I have to do is educate them about what the process is that I do, but another part of it is getting them to understand what it is that they can and should be looking for. So I always ask somebody right off the bat, what do you want? And the common answer is always, I don't know, but I'll know when I see it. So I always have to get them to start narrowing down what's plausible for them to look for, why. There's an enormous amount of hand-holding. In a particular case, he is a person that comes out of a business that has a strong component of everything from working with blue-collar and skilled workers all the way through to working with politicians. He's had quite a wide range of experience, but it's a very, without being too specific, I have to be careful, it's a very, people look at it as a very specific kind of industry. He was looking at everything from, wanted to think of everything from distributors of laundry detergents to assemblers of electronics to purveyors of heavy equipment to rental agencies. He could probably run any of those. If we had to take him to a bank to get financing, it would be more challenging because banks want to see continuity of experience. So a lot of what I had to do was create a funnel for him that would allow him to narrow down what it was he was looking for. He's ended up working with a company that distributes a specific kind of electronic equipment, a market base which has points in common with the industry that he came out of. So he has continuity with it. It's not the industry he came out of, it's different, but they're kissing cousins. It's very important to understand who's involved in making a decision about communal assets. You know, there are a lot of business types who think they can make these decisions. They're not used to thinking about bringing family into them until the time comes to actually make personal guarantees, put personal assets on the line, take money from a bank account and actually spend it. And then all of a sudden they realize that their spouse isn't really in the game. They don't really support it, or they don't understand it. So when I'm working with individual clients, very early in the game, usually before I actually get finally engaged to do the job, I want to meet the spouse and make sure that they understand that I'm real, what I do, how I do it, and also it's always interesting because it's important for me to know a client very well from a psychological standpoint. There's a lot of psychology in making a final match to a business. It isn't just numbers. I learn a lot about the client from what their spouse tells me, and it's oftentimes stuff that they're not even aware of themselves. It's always amusing to have those conversations, always informative. When a guy can sit there and his wife, he swears he's really good with people, and his wife says, well, actually you're kind of argumentative with certain types of people, but you're really good at this, and the guy goes, oh, I didn't know that. From the standpoint of a family member, they would tend to have insight into father, mother, spouse, about this thing I mentioned earlier, this intangible passion or desire or ability to run a business. And just know, even if the prospective client, be they husband or wife, is actively in a rewarding corporate position, they still may know at some point in time that person wants out, that person wants to do their own thing. If they can't ever do their own thing, they're going to torture themselves to their dying day that they never gave it a shot.